The rats are fleeing Donald Trump's sinking ship. Let's just start with Carolyn Levitt, who, after a full year of lying directly to our faces, has realized that maybe those lies will come with some consequences. So she's leaving early before she has to face them. But Carolyn, little newsflash, you're still going to. But she's not the only one leaving right now. Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson, she's left as well. White House counsel David Warrington, he's gone. Deputy National Security Advisor Andy Baker, he followed their lead. He just departed. Tulsi Gabbard was also clearly smart enough to bail out. She did so in May because apparently everyone's families have suddenly become much more interesting than staying in Donald Trump's quote-unquote winning operation, as the White House is slowly, figuratively, and actually literally being demolished. But who could be surprised? Just look at what's going on in Donald Trump's America. We're still dealing with the poop lettuce. 1,947 people across 9 states have been hit with a parasite that spreads through a very specific type of contamination. And yet, the main source of the outbreak, Taylor Farms, drops $1 million on Donald Trump's super PAC, another $1 million on the House Republican super PAC, and nearly $1 million on lobbying for less regulation on food safety. And almost immediately, RFK Jr.'s FDA weakened the food traceability rule, the same exact one that allows them to figure out which farms are distributing that contaminated lettuce. That's why it took so long to figure out where the poop lettuce was coming from, by the way. And when the FDA finally requested a recall, Taylor Farms just called up the White House directly to talk to Trump and the FDA. And wouldn't you know it, Taylor Farms then ran to social media to announce, quote, "The FDA apologized to us," which also, by the way, did not happen. But with Trump and his acolytes in charge of our food safety, what's a little nationwide parasite between two friends? A $2 million donation. That's the going rate for whether or not you can safely eat at Taco Bell. Lettuce has gone fatal under the Trump presidency. And that's just the lettuce. There's also 1.6 million containers of eggs, whole cartons of eggs under a Class 1 recall right now, which is the one that implies that the food can actually kill you. We've gone from fatal to deadly to holy shit. And it's probably not all related to firing 1 in 5 people in the FDA's food safety workforce. No, that couldn't be the reason. It couldn't be that inspections have dropped by 30%. These things are unrelated. Is the sarcasm coming through? But if the food doesn't kill you, maybe the war will. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been at sea since November, long past the expected deployment time, which was supposed to end in May. But thanks to Donald Trump's illegal war with Iran, he extended it with no return date because he thinks troops are basically disposable cattle. As a result of this already endless war, multiple sailors have tragically tried to go overboard. One sailor's wife told the Military Times he's scared. He thinks he'll get a dishonorable discharge, and just because he was burnt out, his 13-year career is ruined, just like that. Meanwhile, the one person in America having a lovely August is Ghislaine Maxwell, hidden in a minimum security camp in Texas, who says the food is legions better than her last prison stay, and that she is much, much happier there. Great. Good for you, Ghislaine. Everyone's abandoning ship literally and figuratively. Everybody else is pooping themselves or in the hospital. Nobody at fault is seeing any consequences. And the only person doing well is Trump's pedo best friend's co-conspirator. Does anyone else see anything wrong with this picture? Thankfully, all 3 of my guests today do. Governor Gavin Newsom, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, and journalist and friend of the show, Aaron Parnas, are all joining me today. We are going to be talking about Abdul El-Sayed's historic win in Michigan's Democratic primary last week and what it means for the Democratic Party with both Governor Gavin Newsom, who of course is eyeing a 2028 run right now, and the nominee himself, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, who isn't just taking on Mike Rogers, but the disgusting attacks that Donald Trump is levying against him and his wife. Abdul talked to me about Donald Trump's bowel issues, so you're going to want to stick around for that. And as we mentioned with the USS Abraham Lincoln, this is an ongoing story that needs more coverage, and that is exactly what Aaron Parnas and our friends at MeidasTouch have been doing. So we're going to cover it all. We are going to call out Donald Trump, and as always, it is happening right here, right now. It's you, it's me, it's my three incredible guests, and as always, it's happening on Sunday.
Want to get into this thing?
All right, we
Governor
ready?
Gavin Newsom.
Look at this.
Cheers.
So I got the IPA, man.
Yeah, well,
With a fish. An IPA with a fish. What is this stuff? It says cold. It is cold.
It's Michigan local, and it's good to be in Michigan with you. We just saw a huge, it's good?
Yeah,
It's tasty? It's beer.
Yeah,
Good
good.
beer at a barbecue.
No,
it's
it's
a
good.
beautiful day in Michigan, isn't it?
It's always a beautiful
Beautiful day in Michigan.
Every day is a beautiful day in Michigan.
But of course, you're here visiting with, and I want to get into your conversation, the conversation you had with Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. But you're here
Yeah, just a minute ago.
after a big victory last week,
Yeah.
Dr. El-Sayed. And I really want to know that night, and it was a late night, but what were your first thoughts about what this victory kind of means for the future of the Democratic Party? Because it was kind of I don't want to call it a shell shock, because this was a great campaign,
Yeah.
a lot of grassroots support, but this is certainly a big moment. What did it mean to you?
I think it's a wake. I'm sure. What more evidence you need? Wake up call to every damn incumbent. I mean, there's an insurgency happening, and it's happening in both parties. I mean, it happened already in the other party with an invasive species, Donald Trump, but it's happening within the Democratic Party, and it's happening everywhere, not just here in Michigan. Obviously, it happened at scale in an incredibly important race, but I think it's just indicative of people that want clarity, conviction. They want leadership. They want people that are bold, the people that are going to speak truth to power to the extent that they're in peril. And so what, look, I've been around for decades now, but I've always had a mindset of being, sort of an established insurrectionist myself, meaning
In the good sense.
because I've pushed back against my own, exactly, not in that respect.
Are you going to get some of the weaponization funds?
I should. By the way, I may need them actually for different reasons. That's another conversation.
It's true.
But the point being, status quo not working anymore for people, and so people are looking for fundamental change, and I think that was reflected fundamentally in this outcome.
We are seeing a lot of unity in Michigan. It was yourself very early on that Wednesday, right after our election day, saying, I'm behind Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. We saw Kamala Harris. We saw Barack Obama make a call.
Yeah.
Haley Stevens, Mallory McMorrow. The unity was really great.
Even Schumer, right?
Even Schumer.
Yeah,
And I think Gillibrand made a full max donation. Like, the party has gotten behind, but there still are those kind of pushing back, really pushing back with these attacks that fall just so flat and so really ridiculously right now. You just had a conversation with Abdul. What would be your takeaway to some of those, I don't want to call them nervous Democrat, but people pushing back against him right now in our party? What would you want to say about your conversation that should?
Don't just look at the clips. Listen to the totality of the comments. And I think it was really interesting. I mean, the conversation I had, if folks that are in that camp had the 30, 40 minutes that I just had, they would come away very differently. Hearing not just what they're seeing or what's in their algorithm, but hearing a thoughtful person explain his points of view in a thoughtful way. You may not completely agree with the conclusion, but this is not a wild-eyed ideologue. He's open argument, interested in evidence. He's not even a member of the DSA. That said, even if he was, he's extraordinarily thoughtful about what he believes, and he's able to make a case in a very effective way. And I was indicative, again, of his success. I mean, he's a very effective communicator and a very effective advocate.
It was a simple message. Money out of politics,
Yeah.
money in your pocket, Medicare for all.
Yeah.
What do you think broke through about that message most?
I mean, the simplicity and money out of politics is a big damn deal, man. And look, the APEC
Especially
money
in this
coming in.
race.
Yeah, I mean, the APEC money coming in the other side that was a gift for him. It was a campaign. I mean, in some respects.
You can't, it really is true. That money, if you're taking it, it doesn't matter how you're going to spend it. It's such a negative against you.
Yeah, and especially that level of money too. So if you want to explain more things in more ways and more days of what's wrong, period, full stop, about everything, it's money in politics.
Yeah.
Just is. That's the thing. That connects every dot. And so this notion, we have an initiative on our ballot statewide in California to allow for cities, not just charter cities in our state, to do public financing. San Francisco, we did it for mayor's races when I was on their county board of supervisors, ran for mayor. We want to see that in other parts of the state. That's one of many things we could be doing all across the country. Obviously, the broader issues of Citizens United, but there's still transparency efforts. There's issues we can continue to advocate for. But public financing, man, we've been talking about that since JFK. And it's at the root. It's getting absurd. I was talking to Abdul about the amount of money he has to raise in the next few months. So it's not, no one's acting holier than thou right now. I mean, he's got to raise serious money.
But it's coming from the people,
And obviously it's not coming from some of the usual sources. It's coming, he's doing hundreds of thousands a day just online. But look, it's getting absurd. I had to raise $119 or so million for Prop 50. My recall was $84 million. And those were short races. It's obscene. These presidential races are billions of dollars. And don't tell me when you're receiving billions of dollars that someone that's behind some of the money is not making that call. And it's not just what people do with the people on the other side of the phone. It's what they don't do that's even more insidious. The actions politicians won't take because they're worried about money on the other side.
I think a lot of what you're saying there has to do with the fear of certain words and phrases that people in the Democratic Party have been pushing back against, and it's cost them, and rightfully so. People who don't want to call a genocide because maybe they're worried about AIPAC coming in and spending so much in their race. I think that's predominantly what you're hearing from Democrats more than, are we bringing in money? It's more of the fear of the crypto lobby coming in, right? The fear of the AIPAC or the Israel lobby coming in. With regards to, because you brought up 2028, I didn't have to bring up 2028. Thank you.
I barely brought it up. I just talked about presidential campaigns like Kamala's that cost billions of dollars.
Does Michigan make you think about that?
I don't know. Is Michigan on the map? Is that really? Is this what is a swing state?
Well, what have people been saying to you? You're in Michigan
now. That it's an early state, right?
It is, and you've taken note of that. That's you saying that.
No, I'm just.
What have people been asking you about your thoughts with 2028 right now?
I think it's interesting. It's way too early, and it's not. And that's what I'm hearing people.
Well, because right now we just saw a divergence in where the Democratic Party has usually been in a swing state. Yeah. So it's not too early.
No, so and there's all these signs.
Not too early. What do you want to be thinking about?
I don't know. It's interesting. I was talking to Gretchen Whitmer. I had her on my podcast, and we went out on the road with her today, and talking about that. I mean, the bottom line is, we need to be thinking beyond Trump. Yeah. Obviously, Trump's not a governing strategy, anti-Trump. I mean, I'm not naive about that. That said, I'm no apologies for being, very clear in terms of my opposition to Trump and what he will do on Election Day this November. So we can't take our eye off that ball. But as we turn the page on 2026, we have got to paint a positive alternative vision where everyone feels included. And that can't come too soon. And people are desperate for that. We had a little town hall today. Mm-hmm. And it was, people they weren't interested in Trump. No. Every single question.
Interested in the affirmative vision.
Every single question. It was around prison reform, it was about gun safety, it was about the climate, which, by the way, was nice to hear those issues
come up again.
Yeah, with all due respect, it's not just about groceries, though it is, but it was also, it's layers of issues. And so policy matters still. Being bold matters. Being authentic matters. Even if you disagree, the fact that you stand on principle, I think matters. People see through bullshit. And people want just clarity, conviction, and they want you to be able to stand behind your position or point of view.
And that's why the money out of politics matters so much. There's a conversation right now with how the DNC is being run, the money situation over there, what's going on with how the primary is being set up.
Yeah.
If you had a little, thumb on the scale, would you want to see AIPAC money or foreign lobby money be something that we say as a party, this is not going to be in our 2028 presidential primary?
I don't know that it's going to be in the 2020. I don't know anyone's touching any of those resources. So, I think that's already kind of an unwritten rule.
But you'd want to see that done away with.
Yeah, no, look, more outside money. AIPAC money, you and I have talked about that on 120 occasions.
Because it's a thing that people want to hear about.
No, I get it. So on that, that to me is like, of course. But no, broadly, we have to broaden that scope in terms of those outside groups, because it's just becoming absurd. And you mentioned the crypto dollar, all that. It's not. It's by the crypto. It's just one of like 20 categories, man. Or it's just these guys with all the money in the world that could put $200, $300, $400, $500 million with their own personal special interest that's not even attached to a PAC, and they're creating some dark money scheme to take people out. The whole thing, the transparency. No one should be able to hide behind any of the bullshit, hiding their money into these groups, and they become these advocates. All that has to change. And by the way, both parties, take advantage of that. Both parties quietly want to see the reform, but both parties have not come together to fundamentally address it. And there's a certain point, and you would think the last presidential was a breaking point. The absurd amount of money would have done it.
Money that was wasted.
Wasted. I mean, come on, man.
Billions wasted. Like, where does this go? There's the flyers that you can't recycle or burn or get rid of.
No.
Is it coming to Michigan?
And by the way, forgive me, we had a governor's race in California. I mean, you had a candidate that in his 2 elections, and he's a friend, but Tom put $544 million of his own money in 2 campaigns. $544 million. So there's also that. I mean, it's not even the outside money. It's money that comes from individual candidates. Again, it's not an indictment on his character, but again, money in politics is becoming.
So I want to take this money in politics to its logical conclusion, which is you got to get rid of Citizens United, right?
Amen.
But we can say that, but if you're also not willing to follow it up with, okay, there needs to be some serious Supreme Court reform. We need to change things. We need to break things.
Yeah, I agree.
I watch a little bit of what you say.
I know I'm struggling with it. I was struggling with
but
this.
You've
term limits, to me, that's a no-brainer. Question is, do you do 13 districts, 13 members of the Supreme Court? And people are working on me.
But the real question is kind of like the how I feel about the institution thing, or how I feel about institutions. And you and I have kind of had this conversation. You kind of, I don't want to say fall back into, but you like us returning to not a status quo, but a place of respect and a little bit of dignity, and the office is doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But if you kind of come around with everything that he's broken, or has your thinking changed a little bit about what needs to be broken now?
We can't go back to our original form.
Nope.
I mean, absolutely not. No. I'm not nostalgic about
any of that.
No, absolutely not, man.
Has some of that changed recently?
Yeah, not recently. I'm even more clear about it. Like, none of that. I mean, relationships, truth, trust. I mean, that we need to restore, alliances. But these institutions, they've not been serving us for too long. And so I am deeply mindful that we're not here just to go back. We need to transform, and we need to recognize that we can't manage our decline. For me, it's not about nostalgia. It's not, respectfully, for me at least, about socialism in that respect, but nor is it about capitalism as we know it. It fundamentally has to be reformed. It's not working anymore. And everybody knows that. 10% of people own 93% of the equities. 10% of people own 67% of all of the wealth. Yeah. You got $124 trillion of generational wealth that's going to transfer most of that tax-free to the next generation, locking in that money for generations. I mean, this whole tax system has to be reformed, and our institutions have to be reformed.
You've pushed back a little bit on the state billionaires tax, but you have a different feeling on the national.
Completely different. And I not only
Why is it different to you?
Because money moves, and you can't tax something that doesn't exist.
My question on that is, Zoran has really worked to kind of change this idea that we have around government. He pushed back against the old Reagan line. The scariest words that you can hear is from the government, I'm here to help. He's also pushed back against this idea that the billionaires, you take a little away, you pied-à-terre tax, you raise you put in a wealth tax, whatever, and that they flee. We haven't seen that happen in New York. How do you want to make sure that the Democratic Party is working to dismiss those narratives and kind of take some of the control back? I feel like what we're hearing with AI, what we're hearing with billionaire taxes, all this stuff is that the billionaire power is inevitable, and I think we'd like to wrest some of that back. How do you think we do that as a party?
Well, I mean, we have the most progressive tax system in the country. I'm someone that, by the way, we pied-à-terre tax. That's like stuff 20 years ago we did. San Francisco and other states. I mean, a lot of it was litigated and has been held up in the courts. But, $25 minimum wage, $20 minimum wage, all of these things that we've advanced. And again, the most progressive tax system in the country. But as it relates to the wealth tax and the one that's drafted in California, there's a reason the Planned Parenthood opposes it. There's a reason the teachers union opposes it. There's a reason so many progressive organizations oppose it, because it's not well drafted. And unfortunately, it's not just anecdotal. We know people that actually have left. So it's impacted us there. That said, we need a national reform. We have to have a billionaire's tax nationally. We have to fundamentally reform our tax code. That's corporate taxes. That's the stepped up basis. That's on the inheritance side. And that's a series of other reforms that need to be put in place. We laid out a strategy on Substack. We put out actual statement detailing some of those plans. And so I'm not hiding behind any of that, trying to lean into all those things. And again, I did a state of the state. You should go back to January, where I wasn't defending California's progressive tax policy. I was making a case for it. And I was making a case in contrast to the regressive policies of Florida and Texas that tax their low-wage workers more than we tax our high-wage workers.
You've also been making the case for being a fighter. This has come up a lot in the conversation between kind of the center and the left a little bit, where you can kind of say, we got to do the fighting, but what are you fighting for? Again, I don't. This is my job. I got to bring up the 2028. You haven't said anything necessarily. You haven't not said anything.
Have I not said it?
But what is it that you want to see us fighting for over the next couple of years, bringing that affirmative vision to the party?
Well, I mean,
and who do you, people see you, and I like this, as a bit of a retribution sometimes. Like, I'm going to go out and get Trump. I'm going to mock him. I'm going to push back.
Right.
I'm going to call out the bullshit.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be coming down also on the people who have done harm to the country?
Well,
and why do you think that's important?
Well, there has to be accountability, period. I mean, period, full stop.
Who ranks highest on that list?
I mean, it's pretty damn obvious. I mean, this is a corruption story. It's the great grift.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kushners, Witkoffs, come on, the whole thing. I mean, this is madness, absolute madness, and everybody's complicit. The challenge is Trump's going to pardon every single member of his cabinet. He's going to pardon every single member of his family. I wonder if he'll do that after the midterms. I don't know. They'll even wait until after he leaves. So, I mean, that's the challenge with accountability. But there needs to be accountability. That said, we also need to be accountable for a positive alternative vision. And that vision has to begin and end with the question that we ask every day, and we have to answer: does it lower costs? Does it increase wages? Period, full stop. We have to be relentless on mobility. We have to be relentless on wages. And we have to be relentless about housing policy, which to me is at the core of so many of the problems we're experiencing across this country. A liberalism that builds. They wreck, we need to build. And we need to build a positive alternative. Dare I say, I don't want to use their frame, but where's our 2029 vision? Yeah. And lay it out in prescriptive terms through a prism of values that we're all better off and we're all better off. We believe in practice pluralism. And as a consequence, we believe that we need to fundamentally advance an agenda that begins to knit back community, knit back trust, knit back transparency and truth, and to the extent we can, rebuild or reimagine institutions that can support pluralistic society, support liberalism, more broadly defined, but also support a middle class that's struggling and suffering, and a generation of 30-year-olds that are doing worse than his or her parents.
What have you admired about the way that Abdul has been able to communicate that vision?
Well, he's an incredibly articulate guy, and he's confident. Yeah. I mean, other things, I'm sorry, they matter. Like someone that can communicate.
And they matter to young guys.
They matter to young guys.
Is it something you think about with yourself?
Yeah, look, I mean, I said it to you. I mean, repeating, it's paraphrasing Bill Clinton decades ago, but said, given the choice, the American people will always support strong and wrong versus weak and right. So strength matters. Now, how about strong and right? That's the sweet spot.
A little better.
A lot better. But the point being, strength matters, conviction matters. But conviction comes from authenticity. It's not intellectual, it's physiological. You got to exude it. You got to believe it. And you got to stand for something. You got to know your why. You don't know your why, man.
What's your why right now?
Well, standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. Been the cornerstone of every decision I make. If I'm on the line, striking out against injustice, standing up for ideals, that's why I stopped the death penalty in California. It's why I did gay marriage before you were even goddamn born, brother. I mean, back when, the party was telling me to go myself. Back to, being a little bit more radical within the establishment all these years. That's why I did Prop 50, which was polling at 46%. I just remind you, people forget that.
I bring it up.
And we got to lean in. So, look, I'm not perfect. I'm not that. But, I am the guy that did the highest minimum wage. I am the guy that did universal health care, only guy in the country. You're talking to the universal health care regardless of pre-existing condition, and regardless of immigration status. No one else in the country. Did $11 insulin. No one else touched that. Did a community college that we did 7-8 years ago. Doubled the income tax credit. Created literally over 160,000 new subsidized childcare slots. We now have close to 500,000 in the state of California. We created a brand new grade, pre-K for all. We created 5.5 million child savings accounts. This was half a decade ago before Trump did his accounts. So we've been at this progressive agenda, but delivering, and that's the thing. One thing to assert, it's another to deliver, another to prove. And I think that's the next iteration for the progressive movement is, and I think Mandami's doing it.
I think he is as well.
And I think that's important. There's a pragmatism, progressive pragmatism, but the ability to deliver is, to me, it's the proof of concept.
We got a lot of work to do. That's why you're out in Michigan. I appreciate it. I'll give you one of these. I'll hit you with cheers again.
I got the better beer with the IPA.
Are we going to crush it real quick? No, we're going to.
Oh, Jesus.
A big thank you to Governor Gavin Newsom. And before we get into what is going to be an incredible interview with Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, he takes a little shot at Donald Trump and his bowel problems and also calls out the ridiculous attack he made on him and his wife. I want to point out a big problem that we are seeing in the mainstream press, in our algorithms, and really in our everyday lives. There's a reason that huge things stopped sounding huge. Somebody describes them to you in language so flat your brain files it away and stops asking questions. That is language intentionally used to minimize, and of course, it isn't only used on the news. If you're on Medicare, every fall a letter shows up, and it does tell you your premium moved, your co-pays moved, the prescription your plan covers moved. It's all in there, just written so flatly that you put it in a drawer. That's the technique, not hiding it, just making it land like nothing. There's one thing that letter will never tell you, whether any of it is still a good deal. It shows you one plan, yours. So here's the piece of this you can actually do something about. Chapter, the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide, independent and honest. They put your doctors, your prescriptions, and what you're actually paying against every plan available to you. And here's the tell. If you're already on the right plan, they tell you. That's the end of it. If you're not, they'll help you switch. Nobody trying to sell you something says the first part. Free, under 20 minutes, no pitch. Dial 417-373-3509 or click the link in the description below. Now for an incredible conversation with my good friend, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed.
Abdul, my man. It is so great to be with you. Congrats on the victory.
For you.
Obviously, you have ruffled some feathers with the worst person on the planet, that is Donald Trump, a man who has no real connection to his family, but decided to go after yours. Obviously, you responded. But what was the first thing you felt in that moment when Donald Trump decided he was going to go after your wife in such a disgusting way?
Come at us, bro.
Yeah.
My wife is more strength than he has ever had. So come at us, see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's going to turn me into the main character of the midterms, which I'm totally cool with, because my whole argument about Mike Rogers is he's always been an NPC. Mm-hmm. And Mike Rogers, I mean,
he's
Donald
not
Trump,
a real guy.
He is like an amalgam of something. He's a sock puppet.
Yeah.
Like, it really, the question is who inserts themselves in him and then controls his mouth. And, Donald Trump can't help himself. So part of me is like, come for me, bro, see what happens.
Respond and hit back. And you also hit back on Donald Trump's health. Obviously, there's something going on up there, and also going on with the release, and you brought that up. What was that line sitting on the top of your head, or have you been thinking about Donald Trump's health recently, or is it just hard to not?
You just watch enough of those videos, and you're just like, he can't seem to keep it in.
Yeah.
So if he wants to comment on me, two can play at that game.
What he says and what comes out of him. There's the cognitive decline. Do you think he has dementia? Are you on he's got dementia, or he's just always been this bad?
I am not licensed to practice medicine, so I'd rather not comment.
Some people have said you're not a real doctor. I'm sure Trump is going to try to make that argument.
He'll probably make that argument, and I should be like, bro, like, whoever it is you're seeing, you better make sure you're seeing a real doctor.
But clearly he's distracted. I was very put off after coming out to Michigan for your incredible victory, driving back into D.C. and seeing the gold horses, which, by the way, ran us $50 million a pop. We're spending money on gold horses. People can't afford anything.
This is the thing, right? It's like, he is out here on these sort of legacy projects that have nothing to do with the rest of us.
Yes.
Whether it's his ballroom or this war, his whole thing is he's trying to win an award because he knows he doesn't match up to Barack Obama. So he thought he would do it by like undoing the peace that Obama created, and then getting us into a war we had no business fighting in the first place, and raising our gas prices to teach the Ayatollahs that they had a full chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a place in the world most people didn't want to know.
It
they
is
had to know about.
unfortunate how much we've learned during the Donald Trump presidency, isn't it? It's ridiculous. I got one more question for you because you're busier on the trail. You got to go. I'm going to do the thing that the mainstream press has done too much, which make a habit of asking you like poorly framed and gotcha questions about Israel. Every time they do that, are you kind of thinking in your head, this is a great opportunity actually to show how disconnected the mainstream press is? Do you like kind of relish in those moments?
I mean, look, it's the fact that that's the question that's being answered just highlights the fact that too often our political press is not focused on the issues that everyday folks are talking about. Most people aren't out here being like, I wonder about the theoretical right to exist of a country. They're asking, does my ability to go to a doctor have the right to exist? Does my ability to afford my groceries have the right to exist? Do I have the right to my own tax dollars? And I just think it's important for us to be framing on the issues that everyday folks are asking about. Yeah. So that's one of them. And then the other one that like I get all the time is about like Michigan being a purple state. I'm like, you've been here for a minute. Do you see any purple people? Most people aren't walking around being like, I wonder where I stand on a theoretical left-right spectrum created by some political scientist who died a while ago. That's not the question most people are asking. They're asking, am I going to be able to afford my groceries? Am I going to be able to pay rent? Am I going to be able to afford my car note? And we should be focused on those questions. And every day on this campaign is a day in which we are having conversations with folks about what it looks like to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all, so that Michiganders no longer have to be asking those questions. Yeah. And I just really wish that more of our conversation was fixated on the issues that everyday people were asking themselves about. And if we did, we would have a politics that looks very different.
A politics that gets money out of politics, puts money in your pocket, and passes Medicare for all. The campaign has been so joyful. It's been so hopeful. It's been so exciting. I think we're all excited to keep following it and keep being a part of it.
Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So fantastic to have been joined by my friend, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, who is really punching back at Donald Trump in a way that we need to see more of from our Democratic nominees. That man knows what he's talking about when it comes to medical science. And so when he says that Donald Trump is really letting it go, that is a doctor saying it. So you can certainly trust it. It is not something that Donald Trump enjoys hearing. Donald Trump also does not enjoy hearing from the independent media, which is why I am so glad to be bringing in my good friend Aaron Parnas, who has not only been talking to Epstein survivors, but also the wives and partners of those on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Aaron has been doing incredible journalism alongside our friends at MeidasTouch. We had a lot to talk about. You're going to want to stick around for all of it. Aaron Parnas, thank you so much for joining me on Sunday.
Jack, great to be back here.
I know you're a double timer now. You've been on 2 times, and it's because you've been doing such great work. I really got to start by saying and give away my bias here. Aaron and I have been friends for a while. I've been so incredibly proud over the past week of the very difficult but important journalism that you have done, sharing these stories. It is really commendable and so important that independent media is leading the charge on this. So I just want to say thank you. I've sprung this upon you. You didn't know that I was going to praise you, and I'm sure you're a little embarrassed by that, but that was the whole point. You've really done great work, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Someone has to do it.
Someone does have to do it.
I'm just humbled to be able to do it.
And it's what I want to start off with. What's happening on the USS Abraham Lincoln is disturbing, especially because this has been unfolding for months now. I remember talking about this a few months ago, and I said the same line that you did, because it's just such a stark contrast. How is Ghislaine Maxwell eating better than our service members on this vessel right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. And I think when you look at the military budget, we spend $1 trillion a year on the United States Pentagon budget on the military. They want to up that to $1.5 trillion. And right now, female service members aboard the USS Boxer, not even the Abraham Lincoln, they don't have enough hygiene products. They don't have tampons. They don't have pads. Our service members don't have deodorant, don't have shampoo. Toilets are regularly broken. These service members, they didn't sign up for a 5-star vacation. No one's suggesting that. But they did sign up to have their basic needs met if they're going to go fight on behalf of the United States of America abroad. And so any other Secretary of Defense, any other president at this point would have stepped in and said, you know what, maybe there have been some failures. Maybe there have been some troubles. We're at war. It's hard to fly a postal service cargo plane into the middle of a war zone. I get it. Family members get it. Service members get it. When you go out there and say, well, they haven't been deployed long enough, or they're just misrepresenting what's actually happening, on these ships, it just gaslights the hell out of these service members and their families, and it makes everything exponentially worse.
And I'm glad you're using that word in particular, because it is gaslighting, and it's trying to get them to believe, or us to believe, that everything that's happening is totally above board. I heard Jake Tapper interviewing one of the wives of these service members, and she was stunned after hearing Donald Trump say it hasn't gone on long enough. And to me, it seemed like, and I'm sure these people have not maybe shared their political affiliation with you or who they voted for, but this is someone who was hoping that Trump would do the right thing. She kind of expressed shock that he has passed up and failed every opportunity possible to deliver anything for our service members. Has there been any conversation of, I did vote for Trump, I was supportive of the president, and this has changed my mind? Or has the focus just kind of been on the situation at hand?
Well, I know for a fact that some folks I've spoken to have voted for the president. Whether or not they still support the president, that hasn't been brought up at all, and I don't want it to be. I mean, this is not a political issue.
No.
It should never be a political issue. I mean, these service members, when they put on the uniform, they're putting on a red uniform or a blue uniform. They're all putting on the same uniform, and so at the end of the day, they're just focused on trying to bring their loved ones home.
Yeah, but Donald Trump has politicized it in the fact that, you're seeing right now the MAGA mouthpieces say, this is a Biden problem. This is a Lloyd Austin problem. Have you heard any of those complaints from the wives of service members? Has anyone brought up Joe Biden for some reason?
No one has brought up Joe Biden. No. And here's the thing. Donald Trump was only brought up to the extent that he decides to gaslight them and tell them that what they're seeing and what they're hearing from their own family members is not real. The initial text messages I received from these family members of these service members didn't say Trump, didn't say Hexeth. They didn't talk about our political leadership. They talked about military leadership, not political leadership. But now our political leadership is trying to minimize their experiences. And so, yeah, now at this point, they're not happy.
Are you hearing calls that maybe are going to start to be shared more publicly for demands for Hegseth to be fired over this? It seems like on its own an impeachable offense for him and for Trump, what's going on here. But have those conversations started to come up? Are there calls for the accountability for Hegseth and the failed military leadership?
I mean, I think there's going to be general calls for accountability. I mean, some of the messages I've shared say that, for example, the Navy administration gets an F, is a quote from one of them. I'm sure, listen, at the end of the day, it's not all Hegseth's fault, right? Yes, he leads the Pentagon, but he's not on these ships. Maybe he should be. Maybe he should be meeting with these service members on the ships. But there is a whole, it's the whole military apparatus that has failed these service members, because it's exposing a real problem. It's not just on the Abraham Lincoln. It's on nearly every single aircraft carrier in the region. It's also on land bases in Kuwait and elsewhere where mental health resources are drastically declining in real time. And so I think this is the one story I shared about the Lincoln and the first text message I shared are really a microcosm of a much larger issue of, we're spending trillions of dollars on the military. Where is that money going to?
Yeah. And it's the same thing popping up in these stories about how these military bases in the Middle East have not been properly fortified against drone warfare. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about minimizing the experience of these service members. There have already been countless stories about those who have suffered severe injuries in Hegseth, and the reporting coming out is, they'll be back out in the field in a few days or a few weeks and all will be fine. And you have people who have been hospitalized for months. Are you getting those stories as well?
Yeah, I am. I mean, people are definitely concerned. I think, listen, I think there was, I don't know if you recall, there was a big hoopla in December. There was a report that came out showing that the Pentagon spent, I think, $70 million on lobster and steak. And people were like, well, why are they buying lobster and steak? It's funny, if you talk to any service member, when they get lobster and steak, that means they're going to a war zone. It's not like a good thing. It's a way to reward service members. Well, here's the thing. Take that $70 million and make sure that every service member in our armed forces can have edible food. How about we start there?
Yeah. Maybe, right? maybe instead of the one night of lobster, we have multiple months of actual edible meals. it's just been stunning. What has been the most stunning image that you have seen of plates of food or kind of shower, or I don't want to get into restroom situations, even though we need to know what's going on, but what's been the most stunning image that you have gotten so far?
I've gotten the stunning images of the food. I mean, the food is really the most stunning part to me because, like I said on Laura Coates Friday night, I've seen prisoners with better food. I mean, America's prison system, which is notoriously horrific, has better meals in certain respects than some of these service members do.
Yeah, and it's what we started with, the Ghislaine Maxwell of it all. You've been speaking with the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, and I'm sure that they have a lot to say about that. Has this come up with them? Are they kind of like making that connection as well and bringing it to you? I know you speak, often with these survivors. Is that something that you've heard them say to you? Is that kind of where that line that you said came from?
I mean, funny enough, I actually haven't spoken to survivors over the past 48 hours. I mean, I feel like my reporting has been kind of very hyper-focused on what's happening in the Middle East, and I'm sure I'll touch base with the survivors soon. I mean, I think it's unfortunate, but right now we're kind of in a bit of a lull, at a bit of a standstill. We don't know what's happening next with the Epstein files. The survivors don't really have a date to look forward to. Todd Blanche was just confirmed. Congress is out of session, so it's kind of a bit of a lull on that end, which it shouldn't be, but it is.
No, and in the meantime, of course, I think the independent media throughout the entirety of the Epstein saga has done a much better job than the mainstream press to bring attention to it. Can you share any more about the efforts kind of you're undertaking right now? Of course, our friend and colleague, Katie Fang, is doing incredible work, making sure that there's legal momentum behind getting more files released, but also the public attention. Can you give us an update, obviously in the wake of the Blanche confirmation, of maybe what the survivors want to do to make sure that the press is still talking about their stories?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I think pushing forward in the Katie Fang lawsuit is important. I also think that we're getting a slow drip of documents from within the administration. I think over the past 3 days, we got about 725 documents through FOIA requests submitted by Bloomberg showing how the administration went through the redaction process and how they flagged 16 documents related to, quote, POTUS, president of the United States, which could be Donald Trump, could be Bill Clinton. We obviously don't know. So we're getting a steady drip. And I think it's going to be truly up to the House Oversight Committee, up to the members of Congress on the Oversight Committee, if Democrats were to take over, to really push forward with these investigations. I've spoken to numerous members on the Oversight Committee. I know you have as well. And I think it's important that they really get answers.
Yeah, and I just saw Robert Garcia once again talking about how Melania Trump kind of sits high on the list of people who the Oversight Committee will want to speak to. Who sits highest on that list, do you think, given the conversations that you've had with the Epstein survivors? Who sits highest on that list for them? Is it getting Trump before? Is it asking more questions of Blanche with regards to his cover-up? Is it Melania and a lot of the Trump family?
No, it's actually not. I mean, I think a lot of the headlines are going to be around the Trump family, but where you're going to get the most information in all of this are people like Leon Black, Darren and Dyke, Richard Kahn. These are the big money movers in all of this. And those are the people that the survivors want under oath. Alan Dershowitz, potentially. Melania Trump, I mean, yes, she probably knows some things here or there, but it's not going to break open this story.
Yeah, I just think that the tone-setting nature of it all is so important right now with the Trump family, and especially as you're seeing, the BBC case that's being taken on with Trump that you've obviously been covering a lot. Ivanka now getting involved with that, Jared, Don Jr., Eric Trump. I think it is important. Would you agree that we make sure that the Trump family is clearly kind of up for grabs here? I think there's been a real effort for them to paint themselves as the kids of Trump instead of the adult family members, and try to make it as if us covering their crimes and their corruption is somehow out of bounds, while that's all Fox ever talked about with Hunter Biden. No,
yeah, for sure. And that BBC case is a perfect example. The BBC is really pressing hard right now into Donald Trump and his family and trying to get more information from his family in real time about what happened in advance of January 6th. We have obviously the 300 plus accounts in the Capital One case that were shut down due to money laundering issues. If I were Robert Garcia, I would just make this, because everything is all about money. If you can track the money over the next 2 years as oversight chair, you can build a massive case to impeach and remove the president if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
all the money.
And there's the money with the poop lettuce. Now we're seeing FDA recalls of eggs. Donald Trump is trying to, it seems like, kill everyone possible he can with food. The administration's really taken, I don't want to laugh, it's taken a really fatal turn in his term. And it comes at the same time when just kind of everyone is leaving. What did you make of Carolyn Levitt's resignation or kind of quitting earlier in the week?
I thought that it was genuine, actually. She's survived 18, 19 months of Trump. If you look at Trump's past press secretaries, no one survived longer than 23 months. So,
quick turnover.
Yeah.
Natalie Hart plug in next, maybe getting hired?
No, I think it's going to be Alina Habba or Scott Jennings.
That would be, Scott Jennings would be the worst. As someone who is constantly covering the White House, who do you want it to be least?
Who do I want it to be least? Someone who we don't know, like someone like Anna Kelly, who's like
someone out of nowhere.
Yeah, I want someone fun to kind of go back and forth.
Someone to poke fun at. Well, Scott Jennings seems to lose his temper a lot, so maybe it would be easy to get under his skin. His reporting is not as balanced as yours, and that's where I want to close on your reporting, because I follow all the Aaron Parnas Instagram accounts, TikTok accounts, channels, everything. And your daughter is making appearances a lot. And there's this funny thing that you've been talking about, how whenever you stop talking or recording, she starts to cry a little bit because she's so used to her dad talking all the time. What's it been like doing this job of no sleep nonstop and also having a newborn around?
Oh, I mean, it's just a constant state of delirium at this point. I don't over the past, because I was on MS Now at 11 p.m. Thursday night and CNN Friday night, and I didn't really sleep after either because my daughter woke up bright and early and throughout the night. It's just been like a constant go, 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 go. And I mean, I love it, but I'm going to crash and burn at some point. But I did just book a vacation. So,
I don't want to dox you. Is it somewhere sunny? Is it somewhere cold? Where are we going?
Somewhere hot and sunny after the midterms.
Okay. Well, we're not going to tell people where it is, but can we tell the mainstream press that you need a bedtime when you pop up? Are you thinking of doing worse reporting so people ask less of you? Is that maybe no?
No, you got to be the best.
You're not going to do that. You're just going to keep committing to being the best and beating everyone.
100%.
Who did you beat 2 weeks ago? There's always some data collection about who the top accounts receiving views are. Didn't you pass Fox the other week?
We beat everyone. Fox, CNN, you name it, we beat everyone.
I got to catch up with you.
Good luck.
We're going to try. Aaron, I always appreciate the time. You're incredibly busy. I'll let you go get some sleep. Thank you so much for joining me on Sunday, man.
Thanks, Jack.
Always fantastic to be joined by friend of the show, Aaron Parnas. He is doing such incredible work as an incredible journalist and also as an incredible new dad. So make sure that you are following Aaron on all platforms, including right here on YouTube. Also, of course, go give him a shout on Substack. But as you know, if you have been watching this show for the many weeks that we have been successfully doing it now, and I want to say thank you all so much for making that success possible. We give out an award at the end of every show. And this week, a lot of people are winning that award. It is time for the Idiot of the Week. And this week's Idiot, it's a group, actually. Like I said, it's a couple of people. So we had to order a ton of statues and medals for every single person because I'm just, I'm a guy who wants to make sure everyone feels included. There were a lot of people this week because our Idiots of the Week are everyone who appeared on Donald Trump's decoy plane. Man, there were a lot of you. Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Stephen Miller, Stephen Chung, so many more White House staffers. Congratulations, folks. You're all sharing the trophy for almost dying for a guy who doesn't care about you. If you don't know what happened, in July, Donald Trump was in Turkey, oddly enough, bragging about how likely he was to be assassinated by Iran. Seems a little weird for Trump to go, quite frankly, I'm number one on their list and I have been for years, basically egging them on to go ahead and try. Then later that night, after Donald Trump's big brag and full view of cameras, Donald Trump boarded Air Force One along with his cabinet and the entire press corps, gave a big wave goodbye and shut the door. 6 minutes later, the Secret Service wheeled an oddly large catering truck off the plane into another plane within which Donald Trump was crouched and hiding like a stolen ham due to allegedly a threat that the plane had just been targeted or was going to be targeted. An Iranian missile could fire mid-flight. He basically then used the course, decoy Air Force One, packed with his closest allies and lackeys, plus the White House press pool as literal bait while he was fleeing to safety. And funnily enough, he really showed who his priorities were. Rubio and Bessent, and by the way, Rubio, like the third, fourth in line, the presidency? Crazy. Rubio and Bessent, though, sat in the dark with Stephen Miller and a plane load of reporters. Well, you want to know who got to go on the secret plane? Well, of course, Pete Hegseth was there. You can't have any fun without Dan Scavino, right? Walt Nada, his personal aide, had to be there, but who was the biggest standout to me? Oh, it was Natalie Harp, his cult follower, human printer. When Donald Trump genuinely believed he was about to get shot out of the sky, the people he selected to save were the guy who fights his wars, the guy who posts his tweets, the guy who carries his bag, and the woman who prints out his good reviews and probably carries around his diapers. Not the Secretary of State, not the Treasury Secretary. Nope, no Stephen Miller either. The human printer and Donald Trump's lover, Natalie Harp. It's almost funny that when he landed and was asked about it, he said, well, quite frankly, I think actually the plane that I flew was at greater risk. Right. That's why you were in the catering truck, because it was going to be more dangerous. But it's not that they got played. It's that every one of them was sure they had been saved. Rubio spent months being humiliated as Little Marco before bending the knee to hand his entire future to Donald Trump in the desperate hopes of succeeding him or even securing his career. Neither are going to happen, by the way. Bessent thought that being the money guy made him indispensable. Miller thought being the ugliest and cruelest guy in the room might distract from Trump's decaying body, but nope. What they all found out on July 8th is that there is no inner circle. There's just the war, the body man, and the printer. The rest of you are worth the sacrifice. Later, when the White House bragged about how good their decoy plane was, they said they used, quote, every tool at our disposal, including distraction and misdirection. They were literally talking about Trump's own cabinet. These people signed up for a guy who will risk their lives to save his own. And if they don't know that yet, then they're either truly idiots or they're actual cult members willing to die for their savior. Marco, Scott, Stephen, and the rest of the bunch, you guys are the idiots of the week. Donald Trump does not care about you, and he never will. He will squeeze every last drop of blood out of the rock that is MAGA. I hate Donald Trump and his supporters a lot, but there is no one who hates them more than Donald Trump does. It is why he kills them with poop lettuce. It is why Donald Trump robs them of $2 billion via a crypto scheme. It is why Donald Trump will always lie to them and make their economic conditions worse, because he does not care. He will blow you up on a plane if it means he stays safe, sound, and with Natalie Harp. Truly, truly embarrassing stuff. Stuff that needs to be called out. And we will continue to do so on this show. And I know my three guests will as well. A big thank you to Governor Gavin Newsom. A huge thank you to Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. And make sure that you are supporting his campaign. We got to keep Michigan blue and defeat Mike Rogers. And of course, giant thank you to Aaron Parnas, a friend of mine who is absolutely crushing it as an independent journalist. We need more people like Aaron, more people like Katie Fang, more people like our friends at MeidasTouch. So Brett, Ben, Jordy, a big hats off to you guys as well for helping me put this show together every single week. My editor and producer, Jules, as well, who's got a new puppy, so congrats to the both of you. Another big thank you. And of course, to the audience, all of y'all tuning in every single week. We are building an alternative to the Sunday shows that kind of beat around the bush, that do the both sidesism thing. We're tired of that. We don't need that. This is a new type of Sunday show. And y'all have made it incredible. So we are going to keep doing it because y'all keep tuning in. And if you want to stick around with us, if you want to come back next week, you know where we do it. It's on my channel. It is on Meidas. And of course, every week, it's going to be happening where you should return, and I'll see you in 7 days. Same time, same place. New group of 3 fun guests. It's going to be me, though. It's going to be you. And it's always going to be on Sunday.